I think we're probably good to get started here. A couple minutes in, we will be recording this anyway, so anyone that gets in a little later will be able to watch it. So hi everyone, I'm Kyle Yunkin. I'm our Director of Customer Success here at Gallus Golf. With me as always is Matt Caden, our Senior Customer Success Manager. This is, I believe, episode 5 of this Pro Tips webinar series.
Number 5, yeah.
So we have been going through a number of features of the app. Just to kind of remind you all what the whole point of this webinar series is. The idea is we're trying to do a 30-minute or less webinar on some feature of the app that's very specific, very targeted. We want to kind of get in and get out of it. We're doing them every other week just to get you started for the season. We are trying to inspire you guys and show you some things that maybe you hadn't considered, or maybe you considered it initially when you launched your app, but you actually decided to focus on some other things. So now it's time to maybe add a couple other things in. And like I said, recordings are shared the same day. So we share them on LinkedIn, on Facebook, I believe, and even like through emails and everything. So if you can't make it to one, no worries. You can fast forward through and get to the parts that you want to see as well. But the general idea is, I mean, think of this as office hours. Matt and I are here to answer any questions that you have. There is a Q&A box, you'll notice in the top left of your screen. If you think of a question as we're running through, there is going to be a section at the end where we'll answer all of those. So just be typing those in there and we'll be sure to get to them in here. So without further ado here, I want to remind you the goal of having a mobile app is to get users to download it so that you can then have a bigger audience to send messages to, so that you can either enhance their experience and or let them know about opportunities to come and spend some more money at your facility. So today we are talking about the home screen of the app and some of the options that are available to you. So here's today's agenda. We're going to go over some background. We're going to talk about what a custom page is. Then we're going to show you our new admin dashboard editor that we are rolling out right now. I'm very excited about it. And then we'll end with some creative ideas. And like I said, a Q&A. So let's get started here. Talk about some background as we always do. So what is the home screen? In short, the home screen is the hub of your mobile app. Users have to see this screen before they go anywhere else. So it's vital that it has all of the features that you think people are going to be using your app for the most. And it's organized in such a way that it's easy to use, but we're pushing them in the right direction, basically. So you want to include any buttons they'll be using the app for the most, like I said. So things like tee times, check-in, F&B ordering, even like membership information, and of course your scorecard and GPS, your driving range GPS, all that. These are all very common uses for the home screen. So just a couple things to get you thinking. There are 2 layout options for your home screen. The one we're seeing on the left is the background image layout. It's our most commonly used one. As you can see, there's one image in the background, and then each of the tiles are just kind of like a little bit lighter than black so that people can just see the text and they can tap on them. You'll see the second option tiles on the next slide, so be looking at that one too. When you create one of these buttons, you can point it to one of 3 options. One, you can take them to an existing app page. So that's essentially either a news item that you've created or a leaderboard. So like for a tournament, or if you do like a custom leaderboard, like we talked about in one of our previous episodes, you could point it to that. Second option is you can take them to an outbound URL. This is the most common use, I would say, for our home screen buttons. This is any page on the web. Most commonly, it's a page on your website, whether it be something about membership or your online ordering system, anything that you can kind of dream up there. We'll go over some examples of other kind of creative uses for it. The third and final thing you could do is a custom page. We'll talk about in a second really what that is, but it's essentially a folder where you can do kind of another level with a bunch of options within it. So before I get started on this slide, I will point out that example on the left is the second option. That is the tile layout. You'll notice this one sheds the background image in favor of having a specific image for each button. So if you want to have a little more control over how many images are in there and things like that, we have a lot of, especially private clubs, it seems like to go with this tile layout instead. It's totally optional, whatever you want to do there. So I wanted to go over some of the unwritten rules, quote unquote, of layout when you're setting it up. People ask us all the time when we're in demo calls. I mean, like, what should I put on my home screen? What should go in the side menu? Things like that. Here's a couple of my thoughts. Number one, keep it simple. You don't want to overwhelm users when they get to this home screen and make them start questioning, like, which page should I go to? What should I do? Keep it to 8 to 10 buttons max. Anything more than that, people aren't going to be scrolling through and trying to find different things. Two, put your money earners towards the top. Over the years, we've gathered analytics on like which buttons get tapped the most on the home screen. We found that the top 4 are the ones that get tapped the most. So anything like tee times, F&B, tournament registration, anything of that nature, you want to make sure that you're putting it up on the top of the home screen. Towards the bottom, you want to put your informational pieces. So what I mean by that is things like your contact information, your membership, your leagues. These are things that people are looking for in your app. So they're going to go searching for that. So you want to put those towards the bottom. And lastly, anything else, you want to put it in your side menu. That's accessible at the 3 lines at the top left of the screen. It's a lot more conducive to having a bunch of buttons in it. So we typically, when we set up an app, we will put your entire website into the side menu, and then anything that you feel is important enough, we can also put that up on the home screen too. So that would be like things like course tour, superintendent's blog, FAQs, stuff like that. With all that being said, our next section, we're going to talk about what a custom page actually is and go a little more in depth on that. For that, I will turn it over to Matt.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, we're going to talk about custom page. Custom page, we used to refer to as a folder in the home screen inside menu setups. Now it is a custom page. And basically what that is a way to, instead of having one button that goes to one page, one URL, you can have a button that opens up another series of buttons that you can click on so that you can have multiple items within that. This is really great to have if you have multiple information. It's one way to clean up your homepage so you don't have too many things on your actual home screen. Like Kyle said, keep it simple. The fewer buttons you can have, the better. That way, when the buttons they do see, they will click on more likely. So as you can see on the example on the left, this is an example of what, after you've clicked on a button on the home screen, it would open up this where you can have essentially a picture, a title, and then a description underneath that. And it could be a number of different ones that you can scroll through. So you can have not just 3 or 4, you can have an endless number of items that you can scroll between right there. So basically what you're doing is adding another level of buttons within the app itself instead of being on the home screen. There can be as many as 3 different levels. So essentially you can have number one is your home screen, all the buttons there. Number 2 would be your first folder, like this one right here on the left. And then number 3, you can have another folder within a folder or another custom page within a custom page. So essentially you can have multiple different ways, like click on one thing and then get to another. We're going to show you an example of that in just a second, showing you how it looks when you're clicking on them. So each item has 4 main elements, 2 of which are optional and 2 of which are mandatory. So as you can see on the left, the first one is a picture. You can choose any picture. We have a bunch of default stock images in there, just like we do for every other part of our app. So you can use any of those pictures that are optional. You can also upload your own image. Uploading your own image is a great way to, highlight pictures that you already have of the course. The number 2 thing that you put in is the title. That is, as you can see on the left, course information, which is in the kind of yellow gold color. That is going to be your title. That has to be there. So you have to have basically a description of what the button is or where you're going. So as you can see on the left, you can just have course information, just the title. But if you want even more information below that, you can have even more text, which is the description. The description is, again, optional. If you don't put it in there, as you can see, it looks pretty clean without it, if it's very obvious what those things are from just the title. But if you really want to have a lot more detail, you can put that in there as well, and you can make that as long as you want. Then the 4th thing that you have to have is essentially what happens when you click on that, the link. That link can either be, again, to another custom page, basically another level underneath, or it can go directly to any URL that you want to. So with those different options, we're going to kind of show you some common use cases. We're going to also go to it after we go through a little demo that Kyle's going to do some more creative ideas of what you can do with both folders and just buttons on your home screen in general. But very common use cases are just like this one, course information. Especially if you have multiple courses, you can have one button on each home screen that's each course that you have. And then when you click on it, it has all the information for that one specific course. That's a great use case there. Another one is membership, upcoming events. Upcoming events is huge. You can have all your events in one place. You can have all your tournament registration information in one page. So you can have about the upcoming event plus a way to register for that event right underneath with a click, right to a URL, to a booking, however you guys have that, either through our Gallus tournament software or however you guys are doing that on your own. Different tee time booking classes. So we have this through the booking engine already, but if you have multiple different ones, like some clubs have public and private, and you want to be able to kind of separate the two so that people can see it, and you want to do it in a way that has pictures and more descriptions of what each one is, this is a great different way to do that. You can even have them in different areas where you can have a member only section where all your member info is in one custom page, and basically only the member tee times are there. So hopefully only members will click on that to see that and click on it, and all your other public tee times can be under the book a tee time button. And then last but not least, food and beverage. Food and beverage, we'll talk about this a lot, especially coming up. But food and beverage, especially if you have multiple different menus, you can definitely have a custom page that has all the different menus, whether it's your snack items, then your like full restaurant menu, maybe your like Sunday brunch menu. And as well, if you have like a click to order, I know some clubs that they want to put in here, if you want to create your PDF of your menu just so people can see it. But then also if you have an online ordering system, either one through us or through any other service out there, you can then have a link to, actually order food right in the app. And then right below that, you can even have make a reservation if you want to have your reservation for dining at that at your restaurant there too. We're going to get into how to do all that, but those are just a couple common uses for the custom pages, but there are a lot out there. We're going to get into more of those as we keep going. But now I'm going to turn it back to Kyle. Well, first we're going to show you. So on the left, as you can see, this is now an example of the homepage. So now I'm going to click on About the Courses, which is in the bottom left-hand corner where it says About the Courses right there. Yeah, thanks, Kyle. So this is, okay, now we're going to click on that button, and it's going to bring us to the next level, which is the first custom page, which is every course. So this is our use case. This is the City of San Diego app, which has Torrey Pines in there. Near and dear to our heart because it's down the street from our headquarters. So, but this is where you can have all your different courses all in one information. So now this is your next level, your second level. And when you click on one of these, like when you click on Torrey Pines, it's going to go to a third level and have all the info just about Torrey Pines. So this is just one example, again, how you can have basically all your info in one place, make it really easy and really a lot easier than like on your mobile website where it might be really clunky. This is very simple with just a couple different buttons to press, and it's a lot easier to find this info for them. So now I'm going to turn it over to Kyle. After we, this is another couple examples. I'm not turning over to you yet, Kyle, so hold on. The left-hand side one is one that doesn't have any descriptions. This is one I like to show because it is very clean and very easy to use. You just have your picture and your title. You can also have one without the picture and just have the titles itself. If it's really basic and you don't want to upload pictures or you don't have time to do that, you can just put the titles without any pictures as well. That makes it nice and clean and easy for them to find and click on the things, especially if you have a lot of different things to click on. Say you have more than 4 and you want them to be all on one page. Getting rid of the picture makes it so that you'll see a lot more on one page. And then the one in the middle is probably the most common, where you just have a picture, a title, and a description underneath. And then the one on the right shows you how big that description can be. That description can be bigger, but obviously the bigger that description is, the more space it takes up and the fewer buttons you have on each page. So just kind of giving you different examples of the layout and how they can look, when you create those. So now, without further ado, I'm going to turn it back over to Kyle.
Third time's a charm.
Third time's a charm. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Matt.
We're trying a new format, going back and forth. This is new for us too.
We're tag teaming here. Okay, so the next section that we're going to talk about is the new admin dashboard editor demo. So a couple things I'm going to say before this. Number one, we are in the process of updating your admin dashboards. Some of you, if you go in there today at manager.gallusgolf.com, you may see it already in there and you can already interact with it. Others of you, we are working on getting your apps updated to version 4.08 or higher. Once that happens, we can then update your backend dashboard. So if it's not in there yet, it will be in the coming days. So just keep an eye out for this. So here, I'm going to hop out actually of this. We're going to go into our admin dashboard here. So some of our more eagle-eyed viewers may notice that instead of the home screen and side menu tiles, we now have just one for app navigation. We're going to give you a new editing experience that's hopefully going to give you a better idea of what your app is going to actually look like. So when you click this app navigation tile, it's going to take you to a page that shows you a preview of the side menu and a preview of the home screen on the right. Now, there's a list on the left. You're going to notice that this list has some icons for side menu and home screen. Think of this list as your master list. So if you want to add something to either your home screen or your side menu, it needs to be in this list first. So if I, for instance, wanted to add about the club to the home screen, I would tap this home screen icon, and then boom, there it is right there. All you need to do is click and hold on it, and you can drag and drop to wherever you need it to go. And if you change your mind, you just hit the trash icon, and then it's out. Now, what if it's not in this list? You're going to hit this green plus mark up at the top, which will give you your three options that we discussed earlier. You can either go to an outbound or to an existing app page, you could go to a outbound URL, or you could take it to a custom page like Matt just discussed. Now, let's, for example, add a link to a URL here. Now, I have pulled up the Village Links at Glen Ellen, one of our customers that's in Illinois. On their website, they have their restaurant, Reserve 22, and they actually take reservations through OpenTable. So say they wanted to add their OpenTable button to their actual app. We would come here to this site and we would grab this URL. I'm just going to right click it and hit copy. I'll come back to the dashboard and tap link to URL, put the label, which is of course, what's it going to say to the user, and then we will paste that URL right in there and hit save. Now, this list on the left is in alphabetical order, you'll notice. So we're just going to scroll down to D. There's our dining reservations button. And if we want to add it, we just click add to home screen. And maybe we also want to add it to the side menu. We'll add it right there. Now, one other thing to note is the custom pages and what that looks like. We do have a, in our knowledge base at support.gallusgolf.com, we have a full demo on this entire feature, so you can go there to take a look at it. Matt's actually going to throw the link to that into the Q&A section momentarily here.
Already did. It's already in there.
Already did. He's on it.
Yeah, I'm on it.
But you'll notice here, here's what the editor looks like. Same thing. You get a nice little preview on the right. You can change the order of them. You can come in here and add more. And as you're going, you can add different buttons within. One other thing I'll mention about this that I know probably a select few of you are looking for is previously in the app, there were some buttons that were hard coded into the side menu. Things like, off the top of my head, like food and beverage, the leaderboard, the scorecard, things like that. Part of this update is you can now take any of those buttons out of your app. So if any of them are pestering you, you can just come in here to the app navigation, hit the trash can, and it's really going to be gone so that people don't see that in their side menu. There's like 5 people right now that are just like cheering about that.
Exactly.
That should be a good one. But like I said, we have a full article on it. We're happy to go over any of it with you, and just keep an eye out for that update coming in the next week or so to your dashboard. Now, I really am going to be turning it back over to Matt so he can go over some creative ideas.
You're much better at this already than me, Kyle. So good job. So yes, some creative ideas. We got quite a few of these. I'm going to roll through these pretty quickly so we can get to any Q&As if anybody has any at the end of this. But essentially, these are good for obviously both the custom pages folders or for just your home page in general, your home screen. Event registration links. This is probably one of the best things you can do, especially if you're using like our Gallus tournament wizard software, where you are creating a way for people to register and pay online for those events. Great way. You create that URL right in the software and just copy and paste that link and create a button, a custom button on the home screen. It's a great place to put that. eStore. If you have an online store, whether it's linked, directly to your POS or it's through Shopify or any of those other online resources that you have a store through, if it's something that's on your website and you want to make money through it, it should be in your app. Anything that's easily clickable and it should be mobile friendly, we can basically frame it into your app on the home screen. eStore is probably the number one thing that people forget, that if you have one, to put it in your app. But that's the first thing I always look for. If it's on your website, put it in your app. Another one, lesson signups. This has been really huge lately. I know that I don't know if anybody's booked a lesson with me or with Kyle recently, an appointment. We use online schedulers. They're fantastic. It's a way to link your calendar to an online portal, basically, that people then can just choose any open times. This is something where if you have one of these, especially for lessons, it's a great way that people don't have to call you. They just book a lesson with you and it sends you a notification when that lesson is. You can even have them pay online for these. There's a lot of them out there. Most of them are pretty decently priced, like under $20 a month, and you can have multiple different people on there. But this is a great way I've seen work really well to get more lessons booked, because people don't have to call you. They just book a time right through the app. So
a couple examples while I'm thinking about it. I've seen a lot of U schedule, like the letter U schedule, getting put in apps for lessons. But also we use, like Matt said, we use Zoho bookings. And we've also seen a lot of Acuity.
Acuity, which is through Squarespace. Squarespace. That one's really good. And that's the one that we had been using for a long time. And that one I liked a lot too, just because there's a lot of customizable options you can make on your page when people are booking. So so those are great for lessons or for anything, events as well, or if people to sign up for anything. Pro tip videos are great, whether you're just pulling videos from YouTube or if you create your own pro tips. I know a lot of clubs, a lot of pros like to create their own videos and they put them on your social media and YouTube and things like that. But this is another great place to get people to see those and have it embedded on their phone so they can watch them right there. This is a really great way to do that, and these work really well. Even more creative ideas. This is something, these are a little bit more high level. One is a PDF or image file. There is a way, and you can look at on our knowledge base to search for this. Essentially, if you have any PDF or image file and want to create a URL that it's basically then viewable on the web, you can do that under setup files in the dashboard and basically turn any image file or PDF into a viewable URL and then just copy and paste that link into a button on the homepage. So this is a very fantastic way. If you have flyers for upcoming events or just anything in general, that's a great place to put them. I've seen this work pretty well recently, especially last year. A lot of clubs had to do this because if you're being contactless, but you still had a cart waiver, you can have a link to an online cart waiver. I know a lot of places have like e-sign capabilities. You create the waiver, they click on it, they sign it right there, and it sends a copy to you. You don't have to do any paper. You don't have to do anything else. This is fantastic if you can find a way to do this. Again, there's a lot of third parties out there that you can connect to for that. Surveys as well. Surveys are really great, whether it's about the club, about FMB, about an event, whatever it may be. If you can but again, if there's a URL for it, whether it's a Google form, SurveyMonkey, both of those are probably the two most common I've seen. You can create a survey in 5 seconds for free, and then it creates a URL. You link it into the app. It's mobile friendly. It works really great. You can put it into a pop-up as well at the end of a round, but put it on your home screen so that people can see it and click on it. And then lastly, food and beverage. Put your online ordering, like we talked about before, basic menus, that are just PDFs, or reservation, book a reservation through there. This is going to be a little tease because our next, pro tip video in 2 weeks is going to be all about F&B and all the different ways to have those linked into your app and all the different forms. So we're going to get into that even more detail next time. So with further ado, did we have any Q&As? Nothing.
It doesn't look like we have any in there quite yet, but if you have a question, you can go ahead and type that in right now. Like Matt was saying, next week, I was going to say next week, 2 weeks from now,
next episode,
the next episode 6, is going to be all about food and beverage. We are going to be talking about the different options that are available to you in your app. So anything from, of course, our OnTap, click to order food and beverage software where you can actually take orders directly through your app. We'll also be going over like creative ways to present your menu in your app if you just want people to be able to call, or PDFs or anything like that. So that should be a great informational one for a lot of you that are looking to get your season going. So we've got a couple questions here. Number one, Kevin Cassidy. Can you list that scheduler software again, please? Yes. So a couple of ones that we did. U schedule, like the letter U, schedule, is a good one. We use Zoho Bookings is the one that we use, and Acuity, Acuity.
I put it in there. I spelled it out for people.
Yes, Acuity.
Yeah.
So there's that one. You are welcome. Troy Mills asked, did we mention that we're updating the site to reflect the app navigation? Yes, that's correct. So you may go into your dashboard right now and still see the home screen and side menu icons. That just means that basically we're still in the process of getting your app updated to that new version. You can still go in and edit your home screen and all that stuff, but you just don't have the ability to take stuff out of the side menu quite yet. That's coming in the next couple of days. Yeah, of course. Okay, cool. I think we're probably good. So this isn't the end of the discussion. Of course, we do have a number of resources that are available to you. Matt threw the slides into the Q&A section as well. And we have a bunch of resources on our online knowledge base. You can also click that button, that link that Matt included, to book a review call if you want to go over your app specifically and ask us questions, different things.
Absolutely. Or if you want to dive into this, even further, want to like help create custom pages on your home screen, any of that kind of stuff too. So
yeah. And let's see. Last thing, I mean, like I said, our goal is whatever way you want to talk to us, whatever way you want to find information, you can do it that way. We have an online knowledge base at support.gallusgolf.com. You can email us at support@gallusgolf.com if that's your jam. You can also give us a call at that number. Or of course, you can hit the chat button wherever you find yourself with the gallusgolf.com domain. So we are always happy to help. So please reach out to us if you have any questions at all. And we look forward to talking to you next time.
Real quick, Jennifer mentioned something in the Q&A just as a reference to how much revenue you can generate in the app. So if you see that in there.
Yeah. So Jen Vincent at Indigo, Jen, thank you so much. Shared with us a couple of examples. They do have a number of courses that are tracking revenue that comes through. They're different buttons. So just for the month of March,
wow.
Here's a couple of revenue figures from just their events button. We have Arlington, we have $1,840. Another one, we have $1,470. Another $735. Another $480. So revenue is getting generated through these buttons. You just need to be thinking about what you're putting on your app's home screen. Jen, thanks so much for illustrating the importance of making sure this home screen is laid out properly. Yeah. So with all that being said, thanks so much everyone for your time, and go watch the Masters, huh?
Yeah.
We'll talk to y'all in 2 weeks.
Bye everybody. Thanks.